Welcome to Sing Scarlet. It is Shelby here with Tyler, and we're back from Thanksgiving. All full, lots of dubs to talk about. The Lady Raiders went crazy on Turkey weekend, I guess. They went 2-0. We'll talk about it. Not the most dominant performances, but still dominant, if that makes sense. We have high standards for this team. That's a good thing. They went 2-0. They're now 9-0 on the season. They're back at home on Wednesday at 6 p.m. against Wichita State. Get out there and watch them. Men's basketball went 2-0 as well this week. Maybe not as dominant, though. They have really, really high standards. Speaking of that, we'll kind of walk through that, talk to you about what Grant's McCasland said about the team. Football absolutely did dominate. Theme of the opening. 45-0, 46-0, 49-0, 49-0. It was like the worst loss in Mountaineer history since 1891. I'm sorry, but if it passes into the 1800s, like it shouldn't count. Like, what are we? Are they even wearing helmets back then? Like, I don't know what's going on in the mountains in 1891, but not civilization. So I don't think that counts. I think it was the worst loss in Mountaineer history that we handed them, and it was light work, easy. We were playing like our 4th-string quarterback with our 5th-string wide receiver that both happened to be a 4-star and a 5-star. That's beside the point. And they put up 2 touchdowns together. Going for it on 4th down, fake punts. I loved the whole thing. So we're talking about football into the first Big 12 championship in school history. I know a lot of y'all are going to be in Dallas this coming weekend, having a party. Red Raiders hopefully getting the dub and getting a bye. And volleyball season is finished. We're not going to talk about volleyball much in this episode. I don't want to bring down the mood. We'll wait and see on volleyball is what I'll say. Their season's over. We'll see how the next week or so goes as far as what happens there, but they finished last in the Big 12. I think we should strive to be better. We should strive for honor evermore than that and whatever needs to be done to make that happen. Do it. I'm not the person to tell you what that is. Somebody knows the answer. Do that. We'll talk about them more down the road, but thank you, seniors, the 3 seniors that are finished up. You're Red Raiders for life, and I appreciate all the work you did and all the players, all that. We'll see how it goes. Maybe they can turn it around in the future. But that's volleyball. Enough about that. Happy times. Women's basketball, Tyler. 9-0. Do you have any thoughts on their 2 games? I know you didn't get to watch, but you kind of saw. So we'll let you give your box score thoughts, and then I'll fill in the holes. I do have highlights from both of y'all. Didn't get to see it either because it was on Flow Sports, but I'm a hoops junkie, so I went ahead and bought it because there was a lot of other good games on Flow Sports last week, so I did watch them.
Yeah, starting off with ODU. Well, first of all, the Lady Raiders are the first team in the country to make it to 9-0, which is really impressive because keep in mind we do have those 3 wins over those power conference teams. So I think that's
Facts.
something that y'all need to keep an eye on with that. But yeah, looking at the ODU game, it did look like that things were starting off a little like we started off well, and then like near the end, they started to catch up a little bit more. They went on a little run. Jalen, I think, was huge in this. I mean, just looking at the stats, was able to get a double double. Jada Malone had a showing, 14.6 rebounds
So
from her.
good.
It really just kind of went through them. Snutta was able to sneak in 10 points. I mean, nothing in the box score other than really. Oh, and then Hema had just had a regular
A
Hema
typical
stat
Hema
line.
game, yeah.
Yeah, just a typical game. So I mean, nothing really like wow out of this, but it's just the fact that we were just able to get business done when we weren't necessarily playing at like our ceiling, but at the same time, we were still able to beat this team by like 20 points. And everyone had this game as like a must be seeded at all costs, could be competitive game. So I think that's kind of interesting to see that we really kind of like raised the bar there, especially in the second half. But you got to
If
watch
I
the game.
if I was a pettier person, which I was very close to doing it anyway, I was about to quote tweet the person that made this better be seated game and say, I hope you stretch your legs, but I didn't do it. But anyway, we won by 25 in this. I think we should have won by 40. I think the team would say we should have won by 40. ODU has a good record. They've been blowing a lot of people out. I mean, at their level, mid-major teams. I wasn't overly impressed with them, though, so I really do think we should have won by 40, but also I think a lot of that was because of our defense. Like, they didn't get off, like, maybe a little bit in the third quarter they started to get some good shots, but in the first half, I counted, like, 3 good shots this team got off. Everything they were chunking up was, like, at the end of the shot clock, under duress. Our defense was everywhere. I mean, in the half court, like, our half court defense is the best I've seen in years. Like, it's just the communication's there, the rotations are there, the want to, the hustle, the chemistry. We're switching between man and to zone, a 1-3-1 trapping zone. You'll see that in the highlights that they're doing a lot, and they're just communicating well, and they're everywhere. Like, it's just havoc. And that's what ODU wanted to do to us, which we talked about in the preview, and we were kind of like turning around onto them. So we turned them over quite a bit. I don't know how many turnovers we forced. On the flip side, we did have probably too many turnovers in this. Actually, we had too many turnovers in this. So it did turn into a little bit of a chaotic mess at times, and that's kind of how Old Dominion wants you to play. If we could have found a way to avoid that, we would have won by 40. So if we're going to nitpick on this team, it's like, okay, we need to find a way to cut out these turnovers because the defense is getting really good. Like, that was our best defensive performance of the year. At 58.9 was our adjusted defensive rating. Lower is better on the defensive side. That was our best defensive rating of the season against them. And the best one was opening night, and then the third best is the game we're about to talk about after. So the defense was there. Not a great offensive team in ODU, but we made it hard on them. They have really some. I think they came in with some good shot blocking, and we didn't seem scared. You listed off our two leading scorers were both our front court players, and Jalen and Jada. Jalen had a cold, was pretty sick during this game, and still just went out there and hooped. She's doing good stuff, and then everybody was pretty solid. It was a pretty quiet day for Bailey, but she made up for it in the second game of the week. Don't worry. But let's show you the ODU highlights, and then we'll get into that UNT game.
The tournament being held here in Frisco, so a good crowd on hand this afternoon.
Sonogo controls the tip. Nice pass down low to Sonogo.
Hema, Jalen. Who else? What a connection.
As Buford comes the other way.
It was a good little swat. Sarah's had some good moments. Still can't get 4 quarters from her, but she's having some moments in these games. Again, Hema to Jalen. Name a better duo. I'll wait.
Jalen shot 50% from the 3-point line in this game.
She had a career high from threes in this game, and then Bailey in the second game had a career high in threes. So just sharing the wealth.
Look at that vision. Look at that court vision.
Those corner threes, man. If you watch Scene Start in March, we told you Hema was going to be eating on corner threes, setting people up, and she's been doing it all year. I mean, just that girl gets beat up. Look at this defense. Danae.
Hey, Danae.
She was really good on defense on both games. The announcers were quite impressed with Danae Fritz.
Love working around a screen by Malone.
Pick and roll. Those two, Sydney Love and Jada Malone, have had quite a few good pick and roll moments over the last few games, so they're starting to get some good chemistry. Here's another one, same kind of thing. I'm glad these refs weren't calling that. People do that to Jada all the time. I don't really know how she can get to avoid it other than them not calling it, but they weren't calling it in this game. I don't know how that worked, but it worked, so keep doing it. Jalen.
That 3-point play to start the third was important.
It was. ODU did go on a little bit of a run. We never really lost control of this game. We controlled it throughout, but they had their moments.
For the Lady Raiders. Malone sets a screen from Maupin. She'll drive behind.
Look at this pass. Falling over. I see.
Oh my God. Too easy.
It wasn't Bailey's best game overall, but she still made winning plays when she needed to. Because that's what Bailey Maupin does.
High post pass comes to Collins. Nice inside feed to Briscoe.
There we go.
Just like unguardable.
They get that high post pass to Collins.
I really like that. I mean, she's listed as a guard forward, but I feel like last year she was more of a small forward. This year she's playing more like a guard. I swear she's always out here shooting. Collins was kind of had a slow game, and I think I even said at one point, man, she's going to have to heat up if she wants to hit double figures for she had it every game this year, and then she scored like 10 points in like 5 minutes after I said that. I was like, I guess I didn't ask.
Called it.
So she got to 10, but I think all of them came in the second half, so she has now scored because I think she had double figures again in the last game. So Snuda has scored in double figures in every single game this season, including this one. Jalen had until I think maybe she came up just short in the next game. But yeah, they did some good stuff in this. Let's just go right into the UNT highlights, and then we can kind of talk more about what happened in this. Because I did get to watch this on replay. I didn't watch it live, but I watched it that night on demand.
Here's Maupin.
Bailey was hooping. This was Bailey's best game offensively. She just seemed like she was focused from the jump in this. Was taking it to the rim, shooting freely and confidently from the outside, setting up her teammates. Like, Bailey was in her bag. Look at this. Step back three.
Let's go, Bailey.
Just like cold-blooded. And then Danae does the same thing on this play. The confidence in these players right now. There's 25 seconds on the shot clock, and she just does a step back three all day. More. It was a tough shooting day for Jalen, but she was still hitting her mid-range stuff and then started to drive into the basket. They didn't have anybody that could stay with her size for size either. Danae had 2 quick threes in the first half that helped us keep a lead. Bailey. We had like a 9-point lead at halftime in this, but what I will say is, again, I went back and rewatched it. It was 12 points, and there was a weird like foul controversy, like tip ball thing with like 0.8 seconds left on the clock in the second quarter in the first half. And they ended up giving the ball to UNT, and it's like, okay, whatever, it's 0.8 seconds. I shit you not. They flung up a prayer with 0.8 seconds left, and it went in. So it should have been a 12-point lead at half, and they got it with 9. And then they went on a little run to start the third quarter. As you can see, they got it pretty close at points, and then we kind of staved them off. Again, our defense at least is allowing people to not go on huge runs, even if our offense stalls for a bit. At that point, Bailey was 3 for 3 from 3. Yeah, we let them get it within 4 or 5. We let them get it within 4 or 5, and then went on a 12-0 run. I'm going to show this possession again, because I was just talking about the half-court defense earlier. Watch this possession. We're in a 1-3-1 zone, which we talked about a lot over the offseason if we would do that with this roster, because it felt like we had the length and it helped someone like Jada be effective. Watch how good the communication is, because we said it's not something you can just do, right? Like, you have to really work on it. You can tell they've worked on it. Look at how Bailey and Danae are there on the catch of this pass to trap that.
They're right there.
And then Gemma is there to steal the ball on the catch. Like, that is the beauty of a 1-3-1 trapping zone, and we're running it really well right now. We're going to get beat every once in a while, but you get beaten a man too. So that makes us really dynamic defensively. And it also allows someone like Jada to be effective too.
Malone handled Nestor pretty well, it looked, in this game.
Yeah, Nestor, she didn't really do much until like the fourth quarter, and she started getting some cheap free throws. Like, I think she had 14 points, but only like 2 field goals. They were all at the free throw line. A lot of them were soft. Because I looked at the box score and was like, damn, she had a good game. And then I watched it and I was like, no, she didn't. Not really.
Yeah. 8 free throws awarded to her. 9 free throws, actually. Made 8.
A lot of them were silly, too. So, I mean, she's a good player. She's a great rebounder. Every rebound was legit. Bailey!
What is Gemma's 3-point percentage now? I know we were talking about it.
I think it's up to like 35% or something.
That's crazy.
Absurd.
That's double what she was
season,
averaging.
I was like, if Hema can get in the 20s, like, that's a major win. She's a good shooter. We told y'all. I mean, if you watched her shoot in the highlights, I was like, she has good form. Like, I don't understand why her 3-point percentage is low, but, sometimes at that level, she's like, a lot of focus on her. Now, everybody's looking at, she has a lot of wide open looks, so it's different. So, but she was never afraid to take big shots at Campbell. Never. And that, to me, translates. It's if you're willing to take it, I tend to think that's going to go better for you. And this team, we've talked about it many times, but I think it's important to emphasize again, is not scared. Hema also got thrown all over the court in this game, Tyler. They were hard screening her. They were bumping her for no reason. Our team was not very happy about it. They were being mature about it, and not necessarily getting into a fight about it, but they were making it known when they thought that they were kind of forearm shivering their teammate when they shouldn't be. There's quite a few moments where Hema got thrown around. She just kept getting back up and throwing herself back into the fray. She is tough. Like, tough. Like, might be the toughest player on the team, which says a lot. Like, she's a bulldog.
Because Proctor's still on the floor on the other end.
Easy cooking. That's easy. That might be the end of the
4 for 6 from the 3-point line.
Oh, here's Danae again. Was a great defender all game. Forces a turnover. I think this is the end of the highlights. She was a menace in this all game for sure, doing what she does defensively. So, Yeah, this game, again, I think they could have won by more if their offense was a little bit more efficient. These last 2 games haven't been their most efficient offensive games. They've both been under 100. UNT was better than ODU, though, but not bad. Like, beggars can't be choosers. Like, if you had told me before the season we were going to have that we could have one of our offense or our defense in the top 10 of the country, like efficiency-wise at this point in the year, I would have said, there's no way. That's not going to happen. I love them, but that's not going to happen. And we're number 9 in the nation right now defensively. So I have no complaints. Now, if there is a world where if they really want to do something special, the next step is to get the offense a little bit better, and that's to cut down the turnovers, to rebound better, which the rebounding's been getting better. The turnovers were just bad these last 2 games. They had been really good for about a 4 or 5 game stretch. So if we can just get back to that, I'm hoping it was just tired legs and mentally tired and a lot of travel and 3 games in 5 days and all the things. So
That's a lot.
I'm hoping that'll be cleaned up. But if they could do that and they could eke their offense, and all of a sudden you have a top 25 offense and a top 25 defense, that's when you're a team that competes at the top of your conference, not just competes at the tournament. Can they do that? I don't know. I'm greedy and biased enough to say that it's possible. I want to believe, but I'll leave that to the team and the coaches. But right now they're in a good spot for sure. So this game, again, I think my favorite play of the game was when Jalen like swatted the ball. It was late in the game. Jalen Briscoe swatted this ball like into the stands, and then let the girl had fallen on the ground, and let the girl know about it. And she got teed rightfully she got teed up for it. Like, you can't do that. But also, UNT had been yapping so much in this game, and that's just what I saw on screen. And the way that they were hard fouling Hema all game, and they were doing it to some other people, and there was some talking going on. So I think Jalen was just like, no, like, I'm done with this. Like, you can pretend to be tough, but I'm actually tough. Like, I think that's what she was like letting her know in that moment.
Yeah.
I liked it from that standpoint. Now, obviously, if it's a close game, blah, 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 like, you can't do it, yada, yada, yada. But I think it showed me a little something. This team wasn't going to back down. Hema was ready to go to blows. Ready to go. And then Danae kind of calmed her down one time. And when Danae's calling you down, senior leadership, because shocked that she didn't go to war for it, because this girl, like, just literally went for a loose ball and just unnecessarily took out Hema. They didn't call a foul. They said that she was going for the ball, but it was like, no need to lower your shoulder there. And send our point guard halfway across the court. Anyway, so I just saw, like, we weren't backing down again. Similar to the New Mexico game where they tried to, like, bully us. And I think that because of our reputation, that's been something you could do with our teams in the past. That is going to be like, hey, just bully Texas Tech. They'll crack. This team isn't backing down to that really. So I think that was another thing that I liked in this. But yeah, you can read off the stat lines. Obviously, Bailey did the damn thing. She was the Lady Raider Dominator, as she should be. Carried the team in a lot of ways.
Yeah, Bailey had 22 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Jalen had 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. Jada Malone had 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Snudda was able to still get her double figures, 10 points in, 2 assists, and 2 steals. She's just always good in there, been perfect off the bench. And then Hema, we always got to talk about her. Hema Nunez, crazy stat lines, 6 points, 8 rebounds. 8 rebounds. And keep in mind, she's 5'7", 5'6". 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals, and 1 block. What a stat line for Hema Nunez.
You know how historic that stat line is? I looked it up because those things jump out to me. In recorded program history, the Lady Raiders have had 13 instances of a player recording a 5-5-5-5 game or more game. Hema has 2 of those 13 games, and she's only played in 9 career games for the Raiders. She's the only player in recorded program history to ever have 2 of those games. And again, she's only been here for 9 games. It goes back to like 1981. I think it does miss some of the 90s because the recording, but still. In this millennium, she's the only person confidently that has ever done it twice. And I would be shocked, actually, if she didn't do it again at some point this year. Because that's just how she plays. She's our second leading rebounder at 5'6", 5'7", whatever you want to call her. She plays much bigger than that. She's always in the right spot. It's a toughness thing. It's a basketball IQ thing. She's everything this team needed at that position and more, especially if she keeps shooting it the way she is. someone please give her another year of eligibility.
Please. She's been great. So great. We needed her.
The other crazy stat that I looked up, and this, like, you can't make this shit up, Tyler. Per this database that I use to find these things, in NCAA history, not just Texas Tech history, at teams that have ever had 3 players on the same team record at least 115 points across their first 7 games, or actually not first 8 games of the season, but any 8 game spans. Could have been 8 games in the middle of the season, whatever you wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The list of teams is Texas Tech this year. No one's ever done that before.
Wow.
Is that not an insane stat?
Wow.
Jalen,
That's so
Snuda,
cool.
and Bailey are the only 3 teammates in recorded history, again, once you get past the 80s and stuff, the women's basketball stats are a little skewy, to ever record 150 points. Basically, that's about 15 to 16 points a game, having 3 players averaging that much through 8 games. That's insane. So, like, that's where this team is, and they're 9th in the country in adjusted defense right now, LOL. Don't listen to us, because before the season we were like, I don't know how good this team's going to be defensively. We're idiots. But that's it's a chemistry, it's a buy-in thing. I think this team is a little less athletic than past years, but they're way more bought in, and their chemistry's there, and the want-to's there. And that's a lot of what it is. And then 48th offensively, top 50. We would have cried for that in past years, so not bad at all. And I think that's just kind of where, yes, you haven't done anything yet, and they have to keep themselves humble to keep working. But also, like, you're really doing some things here. Like, so
For sure.
it's like trying to find that balance of, like, no, we still have a long ways to go. But also, guys, like, it's not a fluke. Like, these numbers are literally historic. Some of the numbers they're putting up. So if they keep doing that, yeah, you're going to have success. And they haven't played the hardest schedule in the country, but they haven't played the easiest by any means. Like, they played one of the tougher ones in the Big 12 for sure, and they're still putting up these numbers. So good things to like, for sure.
Yeah, and what I like most is, like, you take a look, in years past where, we would go to these preseason tournaments and you would have to play back-to-back days, and it seems like maybe one game you'd be able to get like 20-point wins, but then the other games would become nail biters. I mean, this was a tough turnaround. You're talking about the team literally probably like came back from New Mexico after the game on Sunday, and then they had to go to Dallas on Tuesday, and then they had to play a game on Thanksgiving Day on Thursday. I mean, that is as you said, like 3 games in 5 days is a tough stretch, and yet we blew out all of these opponents. All 3 of the opponents acted like,
doubled the spread in both games for what
Yes.
Torvik predicted.
Literally, just double the spread, beat them like that badly. When you look at teams that have that type of toughness, these are the teams that you're looking at that, do they pass the eye test in the beginning of the year? Can they handle, that quick turnaround? And when you start looking further down the road, and I mean, you have to think about it, pretty soon you'll get into conference play, and then you have to play 2 Big 12 opponents, a week. And it's like they were just able to do the 3 games in 5 days with some pretty notable mid-majors, some that have been historically good. So that's what I'm most excited about. It just looks like, yeah, even through the fatigue and even with a shorter bench, if you will, than what we've usually had in the past, we're still putting up numbers to like still get by. And I mean, we're getting by like 20 points. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think you just touched on something that's one of the more impressive things about this team is the fact that they're doing this on a shorter rotation. Because, and I think that's why I'm giving them grace on the turnovers this week, is they didn't really extend their rotation out much. I thought they might, but they didn't, because they're trying. I mean, listen, analytics matter. The net comes out tomorrow as we're recording this. All these things are probably, I hope, are being considered in their brains, because that stuff matters to get in the tournament. So there is a point where it's like, yeah, we want to rest them a little bit. Also, we can't give up certain leads and things like that. So they were able to do these things, but they were turning it over quite a bit. But in past years, it's like you have like 13. We had like a rotation of 13 last year. So they were playing those close games and stuff. But it's like you really shouldn't been. You should be able to run those teams out the gym, because you had these depth advantages. And this year it's kind of the opposite. Both these teams had deeper teams, North Texas for sure, than us. And maybe you saw a little bit of that in their third quarter comeback. But we put them to bed with our experience in the fourth. So it feels like the whole Jalen, Bailey, Snuda of it really works, because it's almost like they have like fallen into, like, Jalen really starts games really well, and then like Bailey is, will do either. She's like, I can start it well, or I can finish it well, and then Snuda kind of always comes on in the second half. So it's like they all have their place where they fit in, and it's not like they all score 30 in the well, that would be crazy actually. Just go ahead and all score 30 in the first half, but it's spread out well. And then everybody else, there's always a new fourth person that steps up. Jada's getting really close to being consistent fourth scorer. Like she might eke her way into double figures before too long. She's getting up there. So yeah, I like a lot of what I'm seeing. I think they are through their biggest tests of non-con, to say the least. The next few games on paper are ones that you should really handle pretty easily, even though some of them are on the road. And you wish maybe there had been like one more test at this point, but if I could be greedy, but as long as they keep their focus, they'll get there, and then they'll start Big 12 play. But everything slows down a little bit, just a couple of games over the next 2 weeks, and one of those is on Wednesday, Tyler. How are we going to beat the Wichita State Shockers at 6 p.m. on Wednesday? The Torvik spread is a small 36 points for Texas Tech, if that was shocking or not.
Yeah. I think this should be, lights out after the first 5 minutes of the first quarter, if I could wish. Wichita State, they're not.
5 minutes is bold, but okay.
I'm just saying, Wichita
You
State,
listen to Tyler.
they're not great. They're 1-7. Now I will say they have played like some notable mid majors pretty closely, but again, their only win is against a team I've never heard of in Missouri. So community college probably. I don't know. Not to disrespect them, but it's just a game
I don't think it was a D1 school because it doesn't have adjusted offense or defensive ranks. So if Torvik doesn't recognize it, that usually means it was NAIA.
Yeah, it was something like that. But yeah, Wichita State, I just don't really think that I don't know. They're gonna try their best, but I think this is definitely the game of the year where we're gonna absolutely just go all out. Maybe we can see some other players step up in this game and really get some minutes. Maybe find, extra depth if we want to on the bench side. But again, Wichita State, I'm just not super impressed. You have some crazy stats here if you want to read them off about Wichita State.
I always try, guys. I really am like, this is what this team's going to be good at. This is what they have excelled at. In the most respectful way possible. This team is not ranked in the top 100 of women's basketball in any major stat category except offensive rebounding, where they come in at 55th in the country at 14.6 per game. And we have struggled at times at allowing offensive rebounds. So that is, we do need to circle that. They are going to crash the boards. Okay. But that could also, I would counter, be because they're what if the... You got to stop laughing. They're one of the worst shooting teams in the country at true shooting percentage at 321st in the nation. So when you're not shooting it well, there's a lot of rebounds up for grabs. So those two things sometimes are yes, they're going and getting them because some teams wouldn't. So it is still something to monitor. They will crash the boards. They're not unathletic. I've watched one of their games the other day just to turn it on, but they're just super disorganized. But yeah, they're just statistically not very good. But they are a Division I team. They have athletes. They got there for a reason. They allow a ton of free throw attempts, 23 per game. We love to get to the line. Bailey Maupin is a free throw merchant. The girl's going to shoot at least 10 free throws in this game if she isn't done playing by the start of the second half. Danae Fritz may shoot some free throws in this game. It could be wild times out there. They're just not... Statistically, they're not great. They turn it over 19 times per game. They only force 15 per game, so they're -4 in turnover margin. Their coach talks a lot about how they should be good in transition, but they don't really do it a lot. They only 9% of their shots come in transition. They're not good. The only thing that could get us in this game is the fact that we did, which rightfully, I'm not saying I disagree with this, the team was allowed to go home for 2 days after that, so as long as there's no turkey hangover happening, we weren't working out for a couple days, well-deserved rest, but athletes are athletes for a reason, so sometimes it can take a little bit to get back into that. But I would think maybe Wichita State did the same thing, so maybe that is what will help us, because, they deserve to go see their families and stuff over the holiday, so something wrong with that. But that's just the only thing you worry about. We kind of, I think, saw that with men's basketball at the game I was just at earlier today. It was a little bit of a turkey hangover. Hopefully a week after Thanksgiving, we've had some time to sprint that on out of ourselves in their Monday
Mhm.
and Tuesday practices, and they're ready to go. But yeah, the spread is 36. It's our highest spread of the season. We should beat them handedly. I think it's a great chance to maybe work on getting some other people in, but also we have so much time off. Like this is one of 2 games in the next 2 weeks. So you play this game, you have like over a week before your next game. So I think it's also a great time to work on stuff with your core as well, because you're not going to play a lot over the next couple of weeks. So you kind of need to let them do what they do and put up numbers and handle business. If you want to be the team you say you are, right? Good teams handle business against teams that they should, and this is one of them. But you have to take everybody seriously. But statistically, it's bad for Wichita State right now. Don't let us be the team that gets them on track. Let them figure that out later in the season.
For sure. And honestly, when I'm looking at my checklist of things that, you want to see out of this team, this Texas Tech team, I'm honestly looking at how well we are going to respond to this time off and these breaks and things like that, because it seems like if you
Maturity.
look at years past, definitely the maturity was not there, and there would be games like, clearly not teams as bad as Wichita State, but there would be like, these games where it's like you want to look like that you've improved during the break even more than when you left off. You don't want to go back to where you first found it, where you first started playing basketball, right? So I just want to see how we're able to handle this break, how we're able to handle the rest, and that we keep getting better rather than just either staying level or going back down. That's what I'm really looking at out of this team this week, because it should be wins, but you want it to be like, you want to feel good about the win. You don't want it to be like, oh yeah,
Yes.
like we won. Yes, we won by 20, but we also had 30 turnovers, or we got out rebounded. Like, you don't want that to happen.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great point. I think this team has gotten better each game for the most part, in at least an area or two, or at least kind of stayed the same. Like last week, I think it was like a just survive and advance type week, which I totally was fine with, because again, there was a lot of travel and a lot of stuff, and I think they did that, and they didn't go backwards. But this is a chance to get better again, and I think they will. I think the focus is just really there with this team, and until they give me reason to believe that that's not the case, I'm gonna keep believing what I see in the way that they're talking and all that. Yeah, they have big goals and bigger goals than I think even we maybe realize. This team is focused on some big stuff, and to do that, they have to keep getting better. So this is another chance to do that. Get out and support them if you haven't had a chance to watch them play. Again, they're gone for a while after this, so they play at home on Wednesday, and then they're not back home until Big 12 play, right?
Jacksonville for Education Day, but
Oh,
tickets already sold
yes.
out. So
Yeah, so probably unless you got a ticket, and that's usually Screaming Kids, and it's like at 11 a.m. or something.
yeah, won't be until
So
New Year's Eve. Really,
yeah,
Big 12.
so
That's
it's possible
crazy.
the next time you'll be able to watch this team play is next year, or no, New Year's Eve,
Yeah,
almost next
the
year
last day,
against
day
UCF,
365.
which will be a big game, and we will need the locals to show up and show out because the students will be out of town for that. But
Mhm.
we'll hype that up at another time. But yeah, they go back on the
Yes.
road for Washington State, Abilene Christian for a neutral site, and then back home for Jacksonville. But again, that's only 4 games of the next 2.5, 3 weeks or so, and then it's Big 12 play. So 4 games to get ready for Baylor.
Let us cook.
I'm excited. Yeah, I hope we murder some shockers on Wednesday. No
Shock
offense,
them.
Wichita. Okay, go team. Men's basketball. Did you watch their game? They've won both games, New Orleans and Wyoming. Did you watch the New Orleans game? I kind of watched
I
it on
was
and off.
I was kind of watching it on and off too, because
I can't
there
remember
was
what day that was,
everything
but it
on
was.
Wednesday.
That's right. It was the day before Thanksgiving. That's why. Yeah.
Busy Wednesday. We started off. It started off like close, like New Orleans was hanging in there, and then it seemed like near the end we were able to kind of pull it together. I don't know. I think Lawan started off slow maybe in this game. I think from what I was just seeing chatter wise, but I'm not. I didn't see like the
Our fans are
entirety of the game.
yeah.
Yeah, our fans are kind of all over the place.
You could score 20, and you could think that they had the worst game of their lives if you look at Twitter.
Right. Yes, for sure. But other than that, I mean, it seemed like Toppin and Anderson stepped up to the occasion and, just got it done, handled business. But yeah, that's at the start though, kind of like all these other non-conference games that we've played kind of close that aren't like, major opponents. We're letting them hang in there, I think, too long to an extent.
Yeah, yeah. It was the defense that really turned this game around, because it was kind of a back and forth game in the first half, and then defensively in the second half. Now I will say New Orleans just started missing shots too, and they were playing like their third game in 5 days, but they had traveled like from the West Coast to Mississippi State to Lubbock. Like it was like insane. Like they had
Mhm.
no days off, and they were playing all these really good teams. They upset TCU to start the year. They should have been Mississippi State the game before us. It went to overtime, and then they were in Lubbock like 28 hours later playing again. So they were on dead legs. They looked pretty good in the first half. So our defense did pick up in the second half, but also, to be fair to them, and they were also just missing shots that they made in the first half. But it was Texas Tech's best defensive performance of the year. Adjusted defense was 80.3, but it also shows you how far they have to go, because 80.3 is not bad, but it's not, like we talked about, not comparing. Women's basketball and men's basketball are different, but the women's best was like 58 on the year.
Mhm.
The men's best was 80. So that's what I'm saying. Like it
Right.
could be a lot lower. And if you went back and looked at past year's teams, like they would be more in the 60s or the 70s when they were playing their best. So there's still a long ways to go on the end, but it did show you how good they could be when they played that good defense in the second half. That's what I remember about this game. Toppin was solid. 1916, he's a National Player of the Year candidate for a reason. Most teams can't guard him one-on-one, and so they're throwing, actually, pretty much all teams can't guard JT Toppin one-on-one, and so they're throwing multiple bodies, and it's like, do we have someone else that can step up? And this game was, I think he had a career high from three. It was like 23 points, I think 4 or 5 threes, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Luke had a really good game. This was his best game of the year by far. Energy was great on both ends. He had 13 points, but more importantly, 5 rebounds and 4 blocks. Also 4 assists. So to have your 5-man dishing out stuff was good. And then Lawan was solid. He's our most versatile offensive player. His defense just has to get better. But he's buying in on that end. He's trying. But Grant even talked about it in today's post game at Wyoming. His feet aren't great sometimes on defense, and he gets caught standing, and they've been doing a little bit of defense for offense substitutions with him to try to get the most out of him while getting the most out of our defense. Where this team's going to get better is when they can have their best players on the floor and not worry about doing defense for offensive substitutions. And he and Grant, I'm kind of morphing games together now, but Grant, after the Wyoming game, said that this team, more than any other team he's ever had, has had players that are so drastically good on either side of the ball. Like, he has players that are great offensive players, but not very good defensively. And then he has some players that are great defensive players. Really great rebounders, great energy guys, but they're not great offensively. And so it's the lack of well-rounded basketball that I think is plaguing this team right now. And I think that's what he's hinting at there, but it doesn't mean they can't fix that. But right now he's just trying to figure it out by subbing guys in and out. So he did that a bit in the Wyoming game, and he talked about it. And in the New Orleans game, he talked about it after the game. He did it again in the Wyoming game. Wyoming, I was there covering it, so I did watch the whole game. My vantage point again is from up top, so I can kind of see everything. And in the first half, if y'all watched the game, you might have noticed this. I certainly did. It was driving me crazy, but I would say 70% of the time that Wyoming ran any sort of screening action, we chose incorrectly. And some of that's chemistry, probably the lack of practice together. I hope that's all of it is, and it's not just like a lack of basketball IQ. I don't know these guys. I'm hoping it's the chemistry aspect, because it does get better in the second half, so that gives me hope that it's like, hey, we just need to work together. But a lot of it was on screen rolls, but there was some times where they did slips off that, some ghost screen actions, and we just chose incorrectly, or we chose correctly, but we chose it a step late, and they were already past us for an easy lay or an easy dish off. We'd come over to help because someone got beat, and then that person's backside easy for a pocket pass over. Sometimes it was kick out for threes, which I'd rather make them kick it out for a 3 instead of a wide open layup. So like that's the next best option, but we still allowed a wide open 3. It was all this stuff happening in the first half. That to me was the biggest thing on defense that needed to change. It did seem to get better in the second half. I asked Grant about that in the post game because that was the biggest thing I noticed, and he said, yeah, we were getting beat on the pick and roll a lot. He said that I guess he tracked it because, of course, he's Grant McCasland. great coach. And he had a stat in front of him. And he said, yeah, we gave up 18 points on pick and rolls in the first half alone. That had to stop. So in the second half, they switched to 5. Everybody was switching everything. And Grant said that's something they haven't done since he's been at Texas Tech because they just haven't had the personnel. But he does think it's something that this team can do, but they haven't been able to do it yet because they can't frickin' practice together, Tyler, because they can't stay healthy. And so he's like, as they can practice a little bit more together, he does think that that's something this team will do. And while I get the final score was 76-72, it's not what people wanted. But if you watch the game and even if you look at the stats, the defense was drastically better in the second half. And I think that's why. It's because we started making them take tough shots. Now, that dude that made 28 points, he was making some tough shots. But they weren't easy shots like they were in the first half. Like, he was having to make some good shots because we weren't just giving up wide open drives to the lane or easy dish offs off the pick and roll. So I thought that was good to see that they fixed that because the first time I was like, dude, do these guys even know how to make a decision? Have they ever played defense before? Like, this is a problem. I'm not kidding. Like, this is a problem. But they fixed it, and I'm like, okay, it's just a thing that they got to work on. So that was to watch. I think Grant said in the post game, it's an urgency issue, which I've talked about that before on the show. I still don't know who the leader is on this team. It's a touchy thing to talk about because we're not in those huddles. Could just be a group that's not overly dramatic with their emotions or whatever, and that's fine. But it just doesn't seem like they're calling each other out, you know what I mean? And I don't know if that's a comfort thing of not practicing together and they don't feel comfortable calling each other out. Because, like, you should be able to hold your teammates to the same standard you hold yourself to, and I just don't see that. Like, Chance McMillan, like, he was so good at that, right? He would hold people to the standard that they have to play to, and he'd hold himself to an even higher standard, right? Who's doing that on this team? I hope someone is. I'm not saying it's not happening. Sometimes I wonder. Grant said after the game there is a lack of urgency from them as a whole, but he made a good point, and he thinks it's more a fact that they haven't practiced a lot together, and then he's hopeful that'll get a lot better over the next 2 weeks when, like I said last week, all they have is ball is life over the next few weeks, and they don't play a lot. They don't have any games this week. They have a week off for their next game, and then I think they have another week off after that. Ish. Maybe they play 2 games in Fort Worth, but then they have a week off. So I think that's what he's looking at. He said the same thing in multiple press conferences now. That keeps jumping out to me, so he clearly means it. But he keeps saying that we need practices where we can break each other down and find out what's wrong. And we're not getting those because we don't have enough bodies to practice. And when they have gotten enough, people get hurt because they're going so hard. So they've found this point of Grant wants to push them to the brink because he believes as a coach, when you push them to the brink, that's when you find out who you are and your teammates find out all that, which is all true. But the problem is they finally had enough people to do that this week. 2 more of them got hurt in practice and couldn't play tonight or today against Wyoming. So as a coach, I'm sure it's insanely frustrating, but that's what the men's basketball team is. And for now, it's an excuse. And a month from now, if they still aren't practicing together, it's just, that's the reason. So it's like, hopefully they can get healthy and push each other to those points, and then maybe that'll help a little bit with the on-court chemistry too, because once you see it in practice, like, you know what your teammate's capable of, you're willing to push them there, maybe, kind of vibes. Just feels like they haven't had a lot of those moments together. It's been a lot of walk-through action because that's just all they can do because they're banged up. But it does seem like every time they've gotten a really good practice in, they've taken steps forward. The talent's there. There's still dudes doing not much on this team that have to step up. But Lawan Watts is starting to settle in if he can just figure out defensively. I thought Atwell was one of the best players on the court tonight. He might have had like 4 points. I don't know. But he's everywhere defensively, and he was not that way to start the year. He was one of probably our poorest defenders in the first couple of games. Now he's becoming one of our best. So if everyone can buy in the way he is defensively, Atwell's a very high IQ player. He moves around the court really well, off ball, on both ends. And I thought he had some really big moments. Horner probably has no business being one of our best players, but he is right now. And Grant gave him credit after the game. and said it's because he's been in our system for a year, and he's someone that he doesn't have to ask to do something. That Leon's like, when he steps on the court, he knows the intensity and the urgency that he needs to play with because he's been in this system. And he was like, I think he can be a better offensive player as well, and he needs to take more shots. And he said Leon even came in the huddle today and said something like, hey, coach, I should have taken that shot. And Grant was like, that's what I mean. Like, I don't have to tell him things. He just does it. And he needs these other players to get there. Because he said it's not, he's like, I don't mean this in a negative way or I'm taking a shot way, but our new guys aren't there yet when it comes to urgency. They don't have that look in their eyes. They're still like kind of looking around at what am I supposed to do here at practice and things like that, which is concerning because it's so deep. But again, they haven't practiced a lot. So it's like, if that keeps happening, we're not going to do much this year. But if they could ever just get healthy enough to practice, I think things would get better. And they're still winning, Tyler. Like, they're not losing these games.
Right.
So there is that.
Right. I mean, it feels weird because, yeah, they're winning these games. Yes, they have
Just
gotten
they
close.
had such high expectations. So
Right.
standards are standards for a reason.
Correct. Yeah, standards are standards for a reason. If they can get healthy, which I think that these next 2 weeks will be good for them, yeah, they're going to be playing higher quality opponents, but they'll also have more time to prepare and hopefully can get more people in the mix. I mean, even just today, when you're looking at this box score, I mean, one easy thing is Wyoming made all their free throws. We went, I'm big on free throws, 18 for 30,
You
12
would have
missed free
been
throws. Yeah, I
jumping out
think
the
I would have
window if you
crashed
were at
out
this game.
looking at some of these things. But I mean, like, that's just
We would have
one
won by
thing you can
20
clean
if we
up.
just made free throws.
No, literally. I mean, that's one thing you can clean up, and that's been an issue all year. I mean, it's the reason why we probably could have had a more, comfortable. If not, we probably could have beat Illinois if we would have had some people make free throws. I mean, it was just a constant issue that's been ongoing, and that's something that you can easily fix. Boom, you get free points right there. Work on, the easy things first, and then you can start going toward, all right, we need to get these players in. We need to start, running what we want to run and make ourselves look like we're a top 25 team in the country, if you will. I mean, LSU, Arkansas really is going to be the tougher test out of the two. But again, I mean, you're going to start playing harder opponents, and you can't just be kind of lagging around. Yeah, Wyoming's a good team. Yeah, I saw that this could potentially be a trap game, but it's also like you're on your home floor. You want to protect your home floor, and they have been doing that. But again, games like this, it's just kind of inexcusable, right? With a team that has this high standards and what we're expecting, it's still November basketball. We've been saying that, but there's still a
It's
lot
not
of
anymore.
things.
It's December 1st
It's
as you're
December
watching
1st as
this.
we're watching now. So time to start getting things cleaned up. And
November
especially
basketball is over.
later in the year when we go, I think we play Duke, right? Later in the year. I mean, you don't want to have a Purdue showing. You don't want to have a Purdue showing. You want to look a lot better.
It's coming up. Their non-con is tough on the road, and it's starting
Mhm.
soon. So, and part of me wonders if that'll be good for this team. Is like sometimes when you have such high expectations, these other games are the harder ones because it's like everyone expects you to go beat Wyoming by 30, even though the spread was only 14. But everyone expects you to beat them by 30 because you're a preseason top 10 team and all this stuff. So when they've played these really good teams, with the exception of Purdue, when they played Illinois, right, they really did step up to the table in that game.
Right.
Like they should have beaten a really good Illinois team on the road, and they just came up short. So maybe going on the road against LSU, especially after a week of practice, is kind of exactly what this team needs to get themselves up, because it is a lack of urgency. It's a lack of energy. Grant even said that he felt like his team started this game too casual. I believe is the words he used, and he just has to find a way to get them more locked in before a game. And hopefully that was just the turkey Thanksgiving of it. But I don't think this team broke. Like I'm pretty sure they all spent Thanksgiving together at Grant's house. So I think they were still together. I don't know if they went home, but still, sometimes just getting out of that flow. So who knows? Talent's there. Just different standards, like that we're talking about here between the programs and expectations for the season. And to be frank, it's the world we live in. A lot of money was spent on this roster, so of course there's going to be high expectations to come through on that. Now, to be fair, those players are certainly doing their part, but we just need other people to kind of step up to the plate, and we'll see. It's all about practice. Unlike Allen Iverson said, it is about practice for this team.
It is. Very
Absolutely.
much. Very much so.
Just playing games is not the way to success for this group. We'll see if they get better. A team that's looked really good, Tyler.
Oh yes.
We can all hope that all the teams on campus are going to have seasons like this one, getting a chance to play for a Big 12 championship for the first time in school history. Football. They will play at 11 a.m. in Dallas, Arlington, technically, at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium versus BYU, a rematch against our favorite little other fan base. We're like best friends with them now. I can't wait for this hate week. It's such a nice hate week where we just insult each other about our foods because we're too nice to be mean. But yeah, hopefully we can get it done. But what is a recap on West Virginia? Again, I already said at the beginning, worst loss in West Virginia history since the 1800s. Beat them 49-0. It was light work. Over before it began. Sorry that we did that to you on senior day. But yeah, they thought it was going to be closer game. Apparently it was done. We were playing our third and our fourth string quarterbacks in this game.
Yeah. It was West Virginia. Like I said, I told y'all I wasn't super concerned after I actually researched down into the team. At first I was like, oh, I mean the elements, everything about Morgantown sounded scary, but then once you actually looked into them, they've had issues all year. Yeah, big win, 49-0. It's actually the first time we've recorded multiple shutouts in a season in conference play since 2005 for Texas Tech. So big things there. We knew that this team was doing big things. Barry Morton, arguably probably one of his better games of the year. He went 25 for 32, 310 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then you talk about other in the passing category. Lloyd Jones III had to come in. Mitch Griffiths only got one rep in. Went down with an injury. Hopefully it's not too serious and he'll be back soon. But we have this 4-star freshman that stepped up, went 4 for 5, 74 yards through 2 TDs to Micah Hudson, who is the 5-star that is way down on the receiving line bench. Got some reps in, and he looked very good. He looked like the Micah Hudson that we were hoping to see whenever he first came here.
Kudos to that kid. I feel like a lot of people can learn from him.
For sure.
He thought he was a little hot stuff, if we're being frank, and he left after his freshman year last year, and it was a poor life decision. And he realized really quick that he should never have left Texas Tech and the circle that he had here and all that. And he was a big enough dude to be like, yeah, I'm sorry. And he went back, had all of his perks stripped away, Team Mahomes, God knows what else he was getting that he's not getting now. His number, no number 1. He's number 14 now. All these things, and he's just kind of a dude on this team now. Just kind of does his job, plays special teams, gets a few, offensive reps a game. When he got a chance to go out there and do his thing, 2 touchdowns. Like the talent is not the problem with him, and I think that this kind of stuff earns him trust. And I'm not saying that means we're gonna put it in a package for him on Saturday or anything. You still have a lot of really good players ahead of him that are seniors and all that. But I think from a college sports perspective, in this day and age where there's a lot of movement and stuff, I've been really impressed with how he's handled it because he's been very quiet on social media. Used to be a very active guy, but he's kind of taken it on the chin and been a team player. And I think that says a lot about him, but also why this team is having such success. It's that no ego mentality on this team at all. And he absolutely had an ego the size of the moon when he came in here, and he's kind of cut that out and just been him. And anyway, I've been really impressed with him for sure. We'll see next year when he gets more playing time and all that, if that continues, but growth from him. He should be proud of himself.
He should. Growth and maturity, and I mean, I think it just shows that the future is bright, right? Like, even though we were playing all the way down the line, these players were still able to compete against, some of West Virginia's best players because West Virginia had nothing to lose. I mean, they weren't going to make it to a bowl game. They're just trying to
and
skid
their
by.
defense has been playing well of late. And then
they have,
made them
yes,
look just as bad as they had earlier in the year.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what we do to people. I mean, it was just really, I was just really impressed with how we were able to just kind of go all over them. Cam Dickey, it wasn't really a big game rushing wise, but still, Cam Dickey came up clutch for us at times.
I mean, they only played the first half, but yeah.
Yeah, literally. I mean, they weren't able to fill it in. 79 yards. Jacoby had 60 yards and 1 touchdown. He was having some pretty crafty touchdowns. We did have a rushing touchdown from our linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez. Heisman candidacy.
He better be in New York. That's coming up soon, right?
He better be. He better be. And here's my argument thing that I've seen. I'm gonna go along with it. Like all these other quarterbacks in for Heisman, they have thrown an interception, so he fits right into the category already. Like he had to get that in, right?
Yeah, you're right.
It was a requirement. Yeah.
ticking the box. That's
Right,
smart, yeah.
just checking the box for that. But yeah, having an incredible season as usual. And then receiving wise, I'm gonna give props to Caleb Douglas. It feels like we've just kind of been waiting. Don't get me wrong, he's had great touchdowns and great moments, but I've kind of been waiting for a performance like he had in this one. 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, he was getting there, and I was like, I just need more from him. And he really brought it in this game. I mean, those 2 touchdowns
I
were
agree.
incredible. That one catch, I mean, insane. I mean, he was doing
He
the damn
juked out
thing.
a dude on the sidelines with like no space for like an extra 10 yards on a
Literally.
play. And I was like, that's the CD we were sold. And like
Yes.
we're starting to see it to end the year, and I think that's big. Maybe he's been dealing with an injury that we didn't know about or something, but he looks fresh.
Very impressive from him. Terrence Carter Jr. looked really great. Big fans of him. 98
That one
yards.
drive, he had like 6 catches and like 70 yards on one
I know.
drive.
He basically ignited the
The
offense on
entire,
that
yeah.
drive. Yeah. It looked great. And then as we said, Micah Hudson, 45 yards,
Big
2
shots.
touchdowns. Big shots to him. And then defense looked great. David Bailey, 4 solo tackles. Did go out though with an injury, but then I guess was there any update on him with that or
I think we'll know more tomorrow.
okay.
Joey said after the game that it was just precautionary,
Okay.
but I think there was a little bit of concern with him, but he said everybody that played in today's game is expected to play next week.
Okay,
So that
perfect.
would include Bailey and would be available to play next week, and Mitch, who also left the
Okay.
game injured.
Yes.
But I think Bailey's the one I'm most concerned about because I do think they're getting extra testing done, and so like
Okay.
even when that's brought up, you just need to wait and see.
Right.
I don't think it's an SGH situation where I said, "Hey, like let's wait and see before we all clap our hands," because like that was bad. It was nothing like didn't see his ankle get dislocated on the field, so hopefully it's nothing. But I think we'll know tomorrow. By the time you're watching this, you'll know. So just go check the noon press conference on every week for football is Monday. And actually Mondays is a big one because it's usually just us. But spoiler alert, which it's not a spoiler alert by the time you're watching this, but whatever. Tyler, spoiler alert. At noon on Monday, they're doing a press conference with Joey McGuire, the coach from BYU, together, and Brett Yormack. It's a whole Zoom call.
Oh wow.
Instead of just the normal noon press conference with Joey, it's the big Big 12 championship press conference that's going on Monday. So there'll be a lot of content. If you didn't see that already, go check the internet because it should be on like YouTube and stuff by now. But I got the email about that, the link to the Zoom thing earlier today. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But so I would assume that someone asks in that. It's usually when that info comes out on Mondays. And if not, then we'll know on Wednesday when the injury report comes out. But hopefully he's okay because that would be a big loss.
Yeah, that would be a big loss. So hopefully he gets well fast.
There is a
Get
chance
healthy.
Skylar could be coming back.
So yes, I was wondering that as well because they said he could be back for.
He keeps hinting at it, but again, I'll believe it when I see it. But postseason is what he said. I don't think he'll play in this game, but especially if we get a week off. Look out, Georgia.
Look out, Georgia. Exciting things. But yeah, overall, belt to ass really on West Virginia. We did the damn thing.
Sorry, not
Defense,
sorry.
offense, everyone showed up. And yeah, we're playing for our first Big 12 championship on Saturday. Super exciting things for this program. Hopefully they keep building
It's
off
been a
of
long
it.
time coming.
Earn a bye. Hopefully in the playoff we'll see on Tuesday where the committee thinks we're at. So
Yeah,
it's all ahead of
that'll be
us.
telling. As long as Oregon doesn't jump us, I think that's a sign that if we win on Saturday, we would have a bye. Which I know a lot of people want the home game because it would be cool and money and all these things, but like this team is so banged up. Like, let's not.
I agree. No need to play extra games.
It will be fun if we have to, but like, let's not hope for that. And the team's like Joey's very much like, yeah, no, we want a top 4 seed. We don't want to play the first game. So I think if they handle business against BYU dominantly, and I think that's why they'll try to. Some people are like, are we even gonna like play David if he's not 100%? Probably not. But if he's like good to go, like there's some people saying, are we gonna play Barron and all this stuff too? And I'm like, no, like we want to dominate so that we send a message that we deserve a top 4 seed and they can't keep us out of it. Because Oregon's not going to be playing, and so it's your statement chance to be like the most recent in their eyes. And if you go out and beat the number, what is BYU, like 11 or something in the country by like 30? How do you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, you have to take it. I mean, you have to take it seriously, and I think you have to win it because, like I said, I have a lot of trust issues, and I think that this committee, I'm really scared that even if you would lose, like, yeah, we should still be in the playoff, but I think it's a scary situation because
Yeah,
then
I
you're
don't
looking
trust
at
them
you
at
open
all.
up the whole can of worms with 9-3 SEC teams that have no business being there, but then they're gonna be like, oh, well, so and so this, so and so that. So I think you just need to go out and win it. I would not go anywhere near the whole let's not play our starters and just kind of throw darts at the situation.
Joey's
Yeah, no.
absolutely not.
Joey's
That.
not
It's
going
just
to
like
do that.
some of our fans
Yeah,
are saying
our
that.
fans need to get educated. We need to win this game. Like this committee is not.
We-
We're not playing with them. We don't play with them.
We are not the
Don't
SEC.
play with
we
your
don't. We
food.
don't get.
No, we don't get
like,
opportunities
those,
like this.
We don't have that. That
9-3 Big 12
privilege.
teams would never even be a thought in their head to get in.
Yeah,
So
no.
yeah, no.
I mean,
Not
there's an
even 10-2.
11-1
Yeah,
Big 12 team, and they're like BYU. Sorry.
yeah.
Like,
You can't
it's
even get
absurd
in.
to me that BYU is not already in the playoff as well. Like they should not
Insane.
have to beat us to get in there. Like that is
It's ridiculous.
you can't rank them number 11 and then say, "Oh, they're not good enough." Like stop ranking them there. So
Yeah.
either your rankings matter or they don't. Like whatever.
Literally.
Like, the ACC is like not even going to get anybody in because
What if
Duke's going to
Duke
win
makes
their
it?
freaking. There's going to be 2 Group of 5 teams in, and not 2 Big 12 teams in because of your silly rules. Anyway, we'll take the ACC spot.
Yeah.
BYU and
that.
Duke have the same colors. Like they'll never know.
Petition. We'll start the petition if that happens.
Yeah. Man, football did it. Kudos to them. They spent a lot of money on this roster, and they said we're gonna go do it. They said Big 12 championship game or bust, and they made it there. So now they have a chance to go win it. And they've only lost 1 game this year. You can't fault them. They've put their money where their mouth is, and they put their play where their money and their mouth is. And now they have a chance to go do that. So I'm excited. Let's get a week off.
Let's do it.
So
Let's do
we
it.
can also go watch the women play basketball at Baylor.
Yes.
Selfishly, instead of
Selfishly.
working a football game at home.
Please.
Personally, just us to you, Joey, if you could do us a solid on that. We will be here, but we would actually, evenly love to be at both. But anyway, that's all I have before I get canceled. We already talked about volleyball. We'll talk about them in a week. I hope we don't need to. We'll see how Portal is portaling for multiple sports right now. I hope we don't have things to talk about, but if we do, we'll be here for you guys the next time. Later this week, we'll have a Big 12 championship preview coming out Thursday or Friday. Stay tuned to that, and we'll recap the women's basketball game on Wednesday, and that's really all that's going on. So it'll be a very heavy football episode.
Well,
there's only 1 women's basketball game, no men's basketball games. I think tennis is even over. It's all wrapping up. All right.
wreck 'em.